As somebody who spends every waking second optimizing the tech they carry, let me show you the other charger I carry with me daily. You're also going to learn something, so I'm going to teach you what a gallium nitrate or GaN charger is, like this one, and why it's such a big deal. Alright, to cut right to it, no gatekeeping, I carry two chargers with me. The little Anker 45 watt charger I showed you in the last video, this is the one that pretty much stays on my person and in my pocket at all times because it's absolutely tiny and outputs an insane amount of power. And then the second charger I bring is this surprisingly affordable 65 watt Ugreen GaN charger that has two USB-C ports and a USB-A port. It's only 27 bucks, I'll have a link to my bio, but as somebody who's tried a ton of chargers, this is by far the best overall bang for your buck. If you value something that's a little bit smaller and compact, but you still need power output and port options, you cannot beat this. 65 watts in this tiny form factor, this is the next AirPods, is insane. That's the charger, super straightforward, but let me nerd out a little bit and teach you about GaN or gallium nitrate, a term that's popped up in chargers like this one that's allowed them to get really, really small, and it's some pretty cool tech. So GaN refers to a very specific type of chip on the inside of these chargers. One of the hardest parts about making a charger, especially making it compact, is managing the heat, and one of the biggest bottlenecks for that heat is the actual chip that does all the logic of the power distribution. Normal chips, like the ones that power your computer and your phone, are made out of silicon. Now, silicon is great. We understand how to manufacture it really well, but it's not as conductive and as efficient as other materials, which is where gallium nitride comes in. Basically what they're doing is they're using the same processes that they would use to make a silicon chip, but they're doing it out of a different material called gallium nitride. It's basically a more conductive, more efficient material that's able to handle, per piece of material, much more power flowing through it without it overheating. It's like switching from aluminum wire to copper wiring, or copper wiring to gold wiring inside like motherboards and stuff. It's just a much more conductive, much more efficient metal. So when they make chips out of it, they're able to make the devices smaller because the metal, or the material, it's not actually technically a metal, is able to handle more power flowing through it, therefore making these tiny chargers. So if you ever see a GaN charger, know that there's some pretty crazy chip tech going on inside it. Anyway, that's the other charger I carry. Hope you found that helpful and like learning a little bit about GaN chips. Thanks for watching.
This is a video about my smart curtains. I've done a few other videos on them before, but it's been a while, so let's chat about them. Here's everything that you might want to know. So straight to the point, these are from a company called Yoolax, and they come with everything, including the curtains themselves, as well as the curtain rod here, which is where all the magic happens. You can see that they run on this track system, and they have a belt in there that pretty much moves the curtains along their way. They are driven by this motor, which hides nicely behind the curtains, and you can mount that on either side, whatever works best for your situation. These ones are wired, however the wire, again, hides nicely behind the curtains, and your curtains are usually by a spot where they can be plugged in anyway. They're based on the Tuya ecosystem, which is really easy to have be compatible with Alexa and HomeKit and Google Home. I'm using mine with HomeKit, for example. Exhibit A here. Hey Siri, close the curtains. And it just works. Something about the smart curtains are really dope. I absolutely love these things. On top of smart control, it's really easy to manually control them as well. All you need to do is give one of the curtains a little tug, and it's going to trigger the motors and automatically open them. Again, very important to have manual control in a smart home, and they do this very elegantly. They have a whole bunch of different options for colors for the curtains themselves, and they cut them to size, so you could pretty much fit them in any space. If you do want smart curtains, which I would highly recommend, this option from Yoolax is on the more expensive side, but it is by far the best integrated option. I'll leave a link to it on my bio on Amazon there, and you can check out the pricing for yourself, but it's going to be anywhere from $200 to like $500, depending on the spec you choose. But the caveat here is you also get totally new curtains, so if you don't have curtains already, this is usually a really good option. If you want a more affordable option for smart curtains, you can get these little curtain drivers, which basically sit behind your existing curtains. They could either go on a track or on like a regular curtain rod, and then crawl along the track or rod to open and close your curtains. These work really well. They're not as well integrated. Aqara makes one. They're pretty good. But the fully integrated option, like these Yoolax ones here, are always going to be the best bet. I absolutely love smart curtains. They're one of my favorite smart devices, and not many people know about them. If you have any other questions on these things, whether that's automations you could use or different functionality they have, please let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.